Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how I do my Faux watercolour stamping. This is a stunning technique, it's an old technique and I'm just going to try and bring it back to life. So I'm using the Kanban Crafts lighthouse with the yacht behind in the background. So that's a nice little scene stamp. This, as I say, is from Kanban Crafts. It doesn't say what it's called. I think this is quite an old one. It was one that a friend gave me. So that's the stamp that we're using. You're going to need a water spray bottle, a brush, some low tack tape. I'm going to be using the Distress Oxides, the Uncharted, Mariner and Tumble Glass. And you are going to need a piece of watercolour cardstock. I'm just going to tape this down in one place so that the cardstock stays where we need it to stay. And all I'm going to do, take my brush and some water, and I'm just going to wet the area that I think is big enough for my stamp. I don't want to wet the whole cardstock. I've already mounted my stamp on a block, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the lightest of the two oxides and I'm going to ink up that stamp. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give our stamp just a couple of mists of water and we're going to stamp that down. Now we want this to look mottled. We don't want this to be a perfectly clear image. And if I hold that up and show you, that's exactly what we've got, a nice mottled image. I'm going to place that back down, and what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit more water on our brush and we're going to just go over the image and just trying to move that ink a little bit. And then we are going to need to dry this off with a heat tool. We just need that dry enough to be able to work with, really. So we're going to clean off the tumbled glass from my stamp, and this time we're going to ink it up in the Uncharted Mariner. We're going to take in our spray and we're going to give that a few light sprays, and we're going to go back over our image. Now you don't have to be perfectly in line with this, just near enough or thereabouts, and give that a really nice press down. And you can actually see now, without me lifting that up, that we've got even more of a mottled look going on, which is what we're looking for. We are going to take in our brush again, and we're just going to move some of this about and go in both directions. You can make this look really nice around the edges, just dragging a bit of that ink out and about. And we are going to need to dry that off again. Now at this stage, if you looked at the image, you would just think it was a mess. But you've got to trust in the process. So I'm going to take in my VersaFine. We're going to ink our stamp up again. But this time we're not going to spray any water on our stamp. And we're going to line that up as close as possible. It doesn't need to be perfect. And we're just going to give that a stamp down. And wow, if I bring this up and show you now, how stunning is that image? We could go one step further with this. If I take in my scattered straw in the Distress Oxide, and I'm just going to place a little bit of the scattered straw on my glass mat. Pick that up and we can go all the way down this right hand edge with a bit of the scattered straw. We can go halfway around the moon, I think it's the moon, and just a few tiny bits on what would be the glass at the top of the lighthouse, and that's all I want to do to this image. So there we go. Using a circle die to cut that out when that's dry, that would be a lovely topper for a card. Okay, so we're going to pop that one side. So I'm going to take in my stamping platform. I'm going to place another piece of watercolour cardstock, and I've put a sticky background on this. I used one of my old cricket mats. A good idea. And we're going to place our image just so. Now the image that I'm using is from Stamps by Me, and it's called The House on a Hill. So this is a lovely big stamp. I'm going to pick up this stamp and we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the first one, and we're going to put some water on our cardstock. Just take that across and see if that's enough. And this time my first colour I'm going to use is Vintage Photo in the Distress Oxides. So we're going to stamp up that stamp. We're going to give this a couple of sprays, mists with the water, and we're going to bring this across. And there we've got our image. I'm going to give that a wipe off. I'm going to take back in our brush and we're just going to move some of this ink. Don't panic, it looks a mess at the moment. Just going to go in some circular movements just around the edges because I want to soften those edges. And then we're going to need to dry this off with our heat tool. It's dry enough to work with. So for the second colour we're going in with the Aged Mahogany. I'm going to stamp up our stamp again. I'm going to give that just a couple of fine mists of water, and we're going to bring that one across. Now you can see this one doesn't smoosh out as much as the first stamp because the cardstock is now dry, but it still smooshes out a tiny bit. I'm going to give that stamp one final clean off. In a little bit of water on our brush, and we're just going to do exactly the same again. We're going to go over our image and just move that ink about a little bit. And again, we are going to have to dry this off. And then this is where the magic happens. Take back in our VersaFine Onyx Black. I'm going to stamp up that stamp again. And we're going to bring this across. I'm going to give that a really, really firm press down. And there's our image. So I'm just going to put this to one side. We don't need this anymore. And I'm going to take in our beautiful house on a hill. So there's the second one we done using our stamping platform. And there's our lighthouse with the yacht in the background. So there we go, two really beautiful images using the Faux stamping technique, or I think it's faux stamping, but the way it's spelt makes you want to say fork stamping. Anyway, hope you've learnt something. Hope you enjoyed my little video. At some point I will make some cards with these and maybe make a video and show you what I done with them. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye for now.